The daring Special Forces mission to go deep into enemy territory in Iraq during the Second Gulf War has been told for the first time by one of the men in command on the ground. Captain David Blakeley led 8 men on a task to seize an airfield ahead of a much larger deployment. But it turned into a fight for their lives when, alone and unsupported, they had to evade 2,000 enemy forces. David Blakeley came in earlier and began by reading a passage from his book Pathfinder, which describes the moment they prepared to face the enemy.
We picked up speed with the wind in our faces, and I felt strangely, oddly calm. I held on to this moment, a few seconds of peace and stillness before the storm of all storms, for myself. I was sure the lads were feeling the same fear that I felt. We all felt fear. It was how we controlled it that mattered.
David Blakeley, welcome. That's powerful stuff. That's the moment just before you had to really face the enemy, wasn't it, on the retreat? Was it the most frightening moment?
It was definitely the most frightening moment because we knew that a lot of stuff was about to come. So it was that moment of stillness and thought before all hell was about to let loose.
So just tell me briefly, what was your mission and why did you have to turn back?
The mission was to go behind enemy lines, my team of elite 9 Pathfinders, and recce an airfield called Kalatsikar to report on the airfield and then mark a drop zone or a helicopter landing site for the Paras to come in.
And you had to turn back because, what, the enemy was in much greater numbers than you'd expected?
Absolutely. There were basically thousands of enemy forces in between the front line and the airfield. It was like driving through Aldershot Garrison, then Catterick Garrison full of troops, and we ended up getting shot at and mortared and RPG'd all over the place. And we had to make difficult decisions about what to do.
And why was it that you were completely alone and unsupported? Why could you not get help?
Part of the nature of our job is to operate unsupported, and the reason why you have this selection process and the way the unit operates is that it is very risky what you do. But as it was, you can't really have communications long range when you're mobile in a vehicle. And so it wasn't until we were eventually static that we could report back on what the situation was. And at that point, we were told there was no air support available.
The Pathfinders are highly secretive. This mission was. How did the MOD feel about you writing about it?
They took a long time clearing it. They actually never contested the factual accuracy that we were abandoned.
So they're happy with everything that you revealed?
Well, ultimately, they never contested the fact that we were abandoned. They agreed with that, and they agreed with the fact that we were 9 men trapped behind enemy lines fighting against over 2,000 forces. But I did have to take out a few details about who a sniper was in the team, because last year a sniper he was written about in a book over here, and he was then kidnapped. So I had to change a few little things that protected
reasons,
current operational security and future operational security and personal security. But other than that, it's exactly as it is a true account.
You did write in this book that at some point it was suspected of being sort of Britain's Black Hawk Down. Do you feel it was like that?
Well, there's about 10, 20, 30 times on the mission, which the book explains in a lot of detail, we should have been killed or captured. And any American Marine captured in the coming days after we'd actually found all these Iraqi positions and let the Americans know, so they then launched airstrikes onto them within an hour. They started that. But still, as they advanced after we'd returned, some of their soldiers were captured, and every one of them was tortured and executed, and one guy was reportedly crucified. So had we been captured, that is what would have happened, and we'd have probably been paraded on TV like in Black Hawk Down.
You have left the army now. You were seriously injured, weren't you, on a subsequent mission, but you're OK. You moved into civilian life. How are things? I believe this may even become a film.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a great time out of the army. It's I try and take the same mentality that the guys in this unit taught me, which is to be industrious, to be self-motivating, and really make things happen yourself. I've worked on a number of computer games. I did Alien vs Predator. That's all my choreography and tactics. And last week I had every major agency in London fighting for the film rights, and I agreed for Daniel Craig's agency, Independent Talent, to represent it.
So I don't think it's the last we've seen of you.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, I'm having a great time.
David Blakeley, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks.